And welcome everyone. Today we have for our Innate Flow Mastermind, Jetta Blaine. She will be presenting on building our somatic awareness using the power of Kambo and the power of plant medicine. And excited to have her and her wealth of wisdom and knowledge. Yeah, Jetta Blaine, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I am so excited to be here with all of you to speak about something near and dear to my heart, which is the innate wisdom that exists in the universe that is our physical body. And I believe it's really the seat of our psychic and intuitive abilities. Similarly to how animals have the instinct when to, fly north or south for winter or summer, or how plants know when to start cutting off their chlorophyll supply to their leaves to prepare for the winter season. Our body has similar ways of prepping ourselves for whatever environmental factors are to come, or just getting ourselves in tune with what activities might serve us, which ones don't serve us, and then also the memory that's hosted in our cells. So, in order to begin, I'm going to have us do a short meditation. So, close your eyes, take a comfortable seated position. Welcome. Welcome, Daniel. We're going to do a short meditation to get started. So, take a comfortable seated position. Close your eyes. You can use your hands to remove any flesh from below your body so that your seat bones have better contact with your chair, the earth underneath you. And come into your breath. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest as you inhale and exhale. And see if there's any movement that your body is craving. Maybe you want to roll your head side to side, back and forth. I'm feeling some chest rolls, some side to side motions, maybe shoulder rolls. And then we will all come into stillness. With an inhale, imagine as though a bright white light becomes illuminated from the center of your chest. And as you exhale, imagine as though this light dims and returns to heart center. Inhale, the light becomes bigger and brighter, shining out from the heart. And exhale, it dims and returns. Do this a couple of times in accordance with your own unique breath. So you inhale, the light becomes big and bright. As you exhale, it dims. Maybe you can begin to feel your heart pulsating as you do this. Inhale, the light becomes big and bright. Exhale, it dims. We'll shift our focus now to the tips of our toes. And we'll trace up the body, just giving a little bit of awareness to our ankles, bottom of our shins, back of our calf, top of our shins, our knees, thighs, hamstrings, front of hips, side hips, glutes, lower abdomen, mid-abdomen, diaphragm. Trace up the thoracic spine in the back. Trace up the heart space from the front and then to the back body. Feel the shoulders, biceps, triceps, inner elbow, outer elbow, forearms, wrists, palms, fingertips, back of neck, front of neck, back of head, face, all the way to the crown. As you sit here and as you breathe, see if there's any place in your body that's calling for attention. It could be a place that feels good, a place that maybe hurts, or a place that just feels numb. There might be no feeling at all there. But cultivate your awareness to that space and send your breath there, as we say in yoga. Send your awareness there. And see if there's anything maybe that's behind the feeling. Maybe there's not. Maybe it's just a feeling or lack thereof. Or maybe there's an emotion behind it, a color, a memory. Maybe you have a weird intrusive thought that seems to come out of left field. We'll all bring our hands together at heart center. Feel your chest press into your thumbs press into your chest. Rub your hands together vigorously, generate heat between the palms. Gently place palms over closed eyes. Open your eyes and slowly remove your hands. All right, welcome back to reality, everyone, or maybe just a different version of reality. So what we just did was a short somatic meditation to put us into our bodies via a rotation of awareness and our breath. And throughout situations like that, throughout meditations like that, it's not unusual for our mind to start to travel. It's common in any kind of meditation for that. But specifically as we focus on different parts of the bodies, different energy centers, like the beginning, we were focusing on our heart chakra, or different areas that are just calling our attention because of a pain or lack of feeling or anything like that. There's oftentimes something that exists there. There's a reason why our awareness is being called there. It could be a memory, or it could be some kind of intuitive thought. And I'm going to kind of link this to if anybody has ever received a massage. If you've ever received a massage before, had somebody do body work on you, it's not unusual that, I'm a massage therapist too, that I'll be working on somebody's shoulders and they'll feel it in their hips or they'll feel it in their feet or something like that. Have you ever experienced that before? We have these movement chains in our bodies, and we have these different ways that our body tries to send communication to us that are linked to other things. Again, memories, traumas, things like that, emotions. And I've had a lot of injuries in my life. I've broken my back, I've broken my face, I've broken almost every tooth in my mouth, and then all kinds of other things on top of that. And I also suffered a pretty extreme traumatic childhood. And as I became older and older, especially as I entered into my early 20s, I was always in pain all the time, like 100% of the time. And I used to self-medicate a lot with opiates and then whatever else, muscle relaxers, alcohol, whatever I could get my hands on, basically to numb the pain. Until finally it kind of reached a point where I just felt like shit and realized I needed to do something else in my life. And basically I quit everything cold turkey, I began to travel a lot, and got into a yoga practice. And as I cleaned up my diet, as I cleaned up my habits, a lot of the pains in my body became more and more pronounced until I gave them attention. And then oftentimes behind that, I would see, okay, what is the pain masking? There tends to be a physical component to things that our body's experiencing. But then on top of that, there's also this consciousness component too. And I believe that these exist in tandem as the body holds on to memories and emotions. I don't know if it's a chicken or the egg. If somebody is to break their shoulder or something, I don't know if that's why things tend to get stuck there, or if things get stuck there because, of some other reason. I don't know what came first. And when it comes to imbalances, I think it could come one or the other. But what I discovered through my own journey was, as I cleansed myself internally, my physical symptoms began to completely wash away almost entirely. There'll always be aches and pains there for everybody, but it's different, than something that's a chronic issue that's been existing or that's harboring you from enjoying life to your fullest. So in 2018, I decided to really go into this, and I moved to India, where I lived for 6 months studying yoga, bodywork, and then that is when I first discovered Kambo medicine. Kambo is a secretion of phylum Medusa bicolor. It's kind of in the same vein as psychedelics, although it's not a psychedelic, but it's often used in tandem with psychedelics to prep the body for an ayahuasca experience specifically. But it's also really good to prep the body for 5-MeO, psilocybin, really anything, because one, it grounds you, and then two, it also just makes it easier for your consciousness to travel, and three, it clears the body so that you're able to more fully have your experience and not kind of be sick during a psychedelic experience, which is very common. Raise your hand if you've heard of Kambo before. Awesome. And then raise your hand if you've sat with Kambo. I know you have, Nate. Yeah. So when I say it's in the same vein as psychedelics, I believe that Kambo also has the power to give us pretty much any benefit that psychedelics do, but just without the obvious tripping, hallucinating effect that you're going to get from a psychedelic. In its simplest, Kambo is a detoxing purgative. If somebody were to sit in a Kambo ceremony, most of them would say that it's extremely uncomfortable. It made them extremely nauseous. It's most commonly punctuated by top purging, which is vomiting. But people can also experience purging in different ways, through bottom purging, through sweating, shaking, fainting, all kinds of things. Basically, Kambo gives us everything that Western medicine says is not good for you, because it brings you into a real state of catharsis, and it also just makes you so inherently uncomfortable. But as a result, it's a really powerful way to get things stuck in your body out. It's very scientifically backed. It's been studied since about the 60s by the same scientist that discovered serotonin. He's an Italian scientist and a Nobel Prize winner. And what we've discovered is that Kambo is a heavy cocktail of bioactive and neuroactive peptides. Peptides are short-chain amino acids. Bioactive and neuroactive means that our body just welcomes these things in. So it recognizes these peptides, welcomes them in, and the discomfort that we experience alongside Kambo isn't because it's a toxin or a poison. It's just the nature of the peptide content that it has. And these peptides are hugely beneficial for the brain and body. We use them in Western and in modern medicine in many ways, but what we do is we isolate them and then synthesize them and use them for things, primarily cancer research, but all kinds of other medications. The US alone has 70 patents on Kambo. The European Union has even more. But when you take it synergistically, you're getting the whole effects of a Kambo experience. You're getting all the benefits of it and all the discomfort of it. Scientifically, Kambo breaks the blood-brain barrier. I believe it can cleanse the brain of heavy metals. It also attaches to your mu-opiate receptors. It's really good for chronic pain, inflammation, depression, and anxiety. Kambo also causes tachycardia. It's a vasodilator. As a result, the shamans see it as a heart medicine. You really feel it in your heart space. And then it also breaks the cell wall. So it cleanses your body on a cellular level. If anybody's ever sat with Kambo, they might say that they felt more alive than they've ever felt, but also more sick than they've ever felt. Your whole body is undergoing this extreme experience. Nate, how would you say your experience was when you sat with it?
It was like the worst flu I've ever had, magnified by 10 for about 20 minutes, in which all the things that you described was sweating, vomiting, had diarrhea, just felt like I was dying. And then as I came out of it, received some hape and was grounded, and yeah, felt, like you said, more alive than I never felt before. It felt like really like that a load had been lifted off of me.
Yeah, yeah, that's common to hear. We sit with Kambo not because of ceremony itself, but because of how we feel after ceremony, right? Yeah, it's a pretty uncomfortable experience, but again, scientifically, we know it's so good for your brain and body. I went over some of the science of it. I can talk about it for literally an hour and a half. It's pretty thoroughly researched, and there's nothing in it that we know of that's harmful to humans. It's like the world's most potent antiviral. It's a strong antifungal, antibacterial. It rapidly raises your white blood cell count. I do everything from shrink people's tumors with Kambo to treat their anxiety and depression, to spiritual ailments, other physical ailments. I've had clients with tinnitus, clients with migraines, clients with extreme digestive issues that it just goes away after sitting with Kambo. Yes.
In in focusing a client's energy on the purpose of why they're sitting, do you have any intention setting process for that?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I apply Kambo ceremonially. Most practitioners will. My ceremonies, though, are typically more in depth, which
Mhm.
is partially from just serving Kambo, but also assisting ayahuasca. And I use kind of them in tandem. And whenever I serve Kambo, I call upon both spirits to enter the room and to guide us in a way. And other times I'll call upon other spirits for guidance too, like the tobacco spirit, since we use so much rape during ceremony, or I'll call on certain angels or something like that. But there is a big intention setting process with people, which typically, more often than not, it has some kind of metaphysical or emotional component behind it. Even if I get somebody who, they're here because they've got a tumor on them, there's typically a reason, as we're getting to talking, as I'm starting to pull the strings behind whatever they're experiencing in their life, where we're able to get to some kind of consciousness aspect of whatever ails them. With that, as a practitioner, what I'll do is I'll apply the medicine, which is the Kambo, to certain points in the body. So there's chakra points, right? And we know of the chakra system used in yoga from India originally. Or you could argue like the chakras are mentioned in all kinds of different religious texts from all over the world, but the most notable is from India. And then what I'll also do more often than not is I'll use acupressure points, since I do Thai body work. And what I've noticed is that, ultimately the Kambo is going to go wherever the consciousness goes. It's applied subdermally. So we apply it to the lymphatic system via a process called opening the gate. So when I say apply it, I mean I'm going to burn off the first layer of their skin to reveal the lymph underneath, and then apply the Kambo there, and then they'll undergo their process. What I've discovered, and what many practitioners will probably agree on, is when you use the acupressure points specifically, it's like they're receiving the Kambo, the medicine's going to go where the consciousness goes, but then it's like an extra 10% on top of it as we use these gateways in the body that might be experiencing a blockage. Traditionally in the Amazon, they don't do it that way. They usually will apply it to either the arm, like the bicep, or to the ankle. Sometimes they'll apply it directly to the heart as well, but it's usually the arm or the ankle. Women ankle, men arm typically. But there's some kind of really amazing thing that happens when we combine it with acupressure or the chakra system, and that's, again, the extra 10%, the subtle body qualities that can come up with people. So if somebody's experiencing grief in their life, and if it's manifesting in a way that might be an upset stomach, digestive issues, something like that, I'll typically apply it to the lung meridian, for example, because in Chinese medicine, the lungs hold on to grief. If they're experiencing a lot of anger, I'll apply it to the liver meridian or to the forearms. The forearms are a big place where people hold on to a lot of really deeply suppressed anger. And then so on and so forth. And as they undergo their process, as the Kambo starts to work within them, as it breaks the cell wall, as it crosses the blood-brain barrier, it literally cleanses your body on the deepest level. Your body can be cleansed really fast in about 20 minutes. Yes, a lot of the discomfort comes from the fact that it just causes nausea. That's just, the nature of Kambo. It makes you purge. But I believe a lot of it can also come from attachments that can come up in the process. It's not unusual for people to have big emotional releases during Kambo, and sometimes this happens before the Kambo is even applied. Sometimes it happens as we open their gates on different meridian points, and as we open up the gateways of the body and these cellular memories come back. Ancients have known since the beginning of time that we hold these memories and emotions all over our bodies, and neuroscience is just catching up with it. There have been some really interesting studies in the last 10 years or so that have talked about how these memories and emotions are indeed all over our body. And one example can be through the concept of body armoring, which body armoring occurs whenever somebody repeatedly tenses, their face or a different area, their back, their shoulders, and then ultimately it becomes like armor. They don't even realize that it's tense. They have a lack of feeling there, and then there's also a lack of pranic flow or chi there, or circulation, whatever lens you want to look at it. So Kambo is a really good tool to kind of bust through all of that. What I say is it kind of rips you open like a door and cleans you like a closet that hasn't been entered in for 20 years or so. And as a result, people typically make big changes in their life or embrace some kind of attitude perspective after sitting with Kambo. We don't know if it works with neuroplasticity. I wouldn't doubt it if it did. There's no studies behind that yet, but myself and my teachers feel like it possibly could. But there is, again, the cellular memories that we're bringing up as our whole body is moving in ways that it hasn't moved in, our lifetime yet. And as a result, as we're able to kind of see these things, we're able to change our mindset around our relationship with trauma, our relationship with what we've been with, our relationship inherently with ourselves. It's kind of like one of those things where once you see something, you can't unsee it. And as our body's undergoing so much movement, as our mind's undergoing so much stress, as we're willingly putting ourselves into extreme discomfort, we're able to really put things into perspective of what matters and what doesn't, and bring really deeply suppressed things from the depths all the way to the forefront of the mind, which allows us to really work with it in different ways and possibly see the power behind anything that we've been experiencing in our lives or suppressing. I'm going to stop there and see if anybody has any questions before I kind of move on and talk about plant medicines alongside that.
So as you take people through multiple sessions of Kambo, do you see any shifts in there being less and less resistance as they go into the space? And what does that look like, if so?
Yeah, typically I do. So it depends on two things. One, if somebody is undergoing an inoculation, and that's when somebody receives Kambo 3 times within a moon cycle. So most practitioners will recommend that somebody receive Kambo 3 times within a moon cycle to start off with, because it brings the cleanse to a deeper and deeper level. It's a really great way to catapult the healing journey physically, and then also we're unearthing some really deep stuff there. And so during their inoculation, typically they'll come back and they'll be more willing to receive it, more willingly able to surrender to it. But still, like, if we're unearthing something deep, that resistance will still be there. They'll willingly come into ceremony, but then as, they're going through the process of getting this thing up, that resistance will exist. However, if Kambo becomes like a regular part of their life, which it typically somewhat does after an inoculation, because they're able to really trust it after that. It's not just, if somebody were to receive Kambo once and be like, oh boy, I was nauseous for 20 minutes, that was miserable. When they do it those 3 times in a row and they're able to see things shift inside of them and outside of them, typically they gain that trust. They'll come back after a couple months or whenever the medicine calls. I work with an ayahuasca circle once a month. We serve Kambo at Ayahuasca, and there are people that are there every month, either for Aya or for Kambo or for the combo of both. And those people typically will be able to find less and less resistance. It's a less uncomfortable process as a result. And then Kambo also just makes you really sensitive to what does and doesn't serve you physically and energetically. So people typically clean up their diet. It's so much easier to sit with Kambo if alcohol isn't a regular part of your life, if you eat a balanced diet, if you get away from the standard American diet. And then as you just clean up other aspects of diet, like relationships, things like that. So it's not always that huge, painful, uncomfortable process that Kambo is.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's really amazing. I've seen people radically shift their lives with it. I've seen people who have been amphetamine addicts that say that Kambo completely takes away the pulse or the impulse to reach for whatever their addictive substance is. I've seen opiate addicts. It got me out of really toxic, abusive relationships that I kept finding myself in and was perpetuating as a result of my trauma, and all kinds of other things. And again, I think part of it is because it brings all this to the forefront of our awareness. And then when it comes down to it, somebody's drug addiction, somebody's addiction to abusive relationships, somebody's addiction to whatever they're finding themselves in, there's usually something behind it that they haven't been able to see, which is a trauma or an emotion that they're avoiding. And so it's really powerful to have that come up and give people the power to make different decisions on themselves. But first, they have to have the ability to see it. Yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay. And so in my own personal journey, I discovered ayahuasca through Kambo, basically. And the first time I sat with Kambo, I knew that there was something kind of behind it, that there was something more than just the physical. A lot of times when people just sit with Kambo once, they think it's just purely physical because it doesn't have the psychoactive component that an ayahuasca experience or a psilocybin experience has. Instead it's bringing you through the universe that is your body, and it's purifying you of all of these things that have gotten stuck physically, energetically. But through that, I discovered Aya, and actually I really liked Kambo at first because it wasn't psychedelic. I had enjoyed psychedelics when I was younger, in my early 20s, but then as my mental health started to decline more and more, and as I didn't have a strong supportive space for psychedelics, they started to kind of scare me. And the first time I sat with Kambo, it was like I heard this intrusive thought telling me I was ready for ayahuasca, and I was like, no, I'm not. Like, where did that come from? And then anyways, a year later, I was invited to sit with ayahuasca for the first time. And then sat with it once to twice a month, every month, almost since. And it's become a big part of my life. And I really can't separate on my own healing journey Kambo from Aya anymore. But plant medicines also have this ability to bring us through the world that is ourself, our internal being. And you can see this in many texts written of people who have visited the Amazon, or if anybody has experienced a strong psychedelic experience. They can be really dissociative as they take your consciousness through other realms, through deeper parts within your own mind and psyche, but they can also take you into different parts within your own body too, as it travels through these different neural pathways that exist. Has anybody experienced that before with the plant medicine or during a psychedelic experience? Yeah. Yeah. And again, I believe this is helping us to get in tune with, our own intuitive abilities. Ultimately, we are a microcosm of the macrocosm that is the universe, and we have bits of the universe within us as well. And we are just as much a part of nature as, space, air, the sky, trees, what have you. And we have this collective consciousness that kind of permeates through everything, which people can experience if they've ever had a disillusionment experience or ego death. You become one with everything and just realize that all that exists is love, if you want to look at it that way, which is the way I like to look at it, or just that everything is kind of the same divine essence. And as we have these experiences, it brings us inward into our own self. We're able to really use that to tell us a lot about what does and doesn't serve us. Ayahuasca is really fascinating. It's literally brought me through what it means to have DNA, what DNA looks like. It's showed me different parts of the brain, like I was getting a lobotomy, and where different memories and different functions were stored before. It's brought me through my nadis, or psychic pathways that exist within Kambo, or within the body, sorry. And basically, you can experience these like different nadis or psychic pathways if you've ever looked at Alex Gray art or anything like that, where the body is just completely lit up in all these beautiful ways. It's pretty divinely fascinating. It's the neural network that we have that allows us to really be able to feel into so much more than our five senses are able to tell us. And in many of these ways we've really lost touch with as we've become desensitized to our bodies, to the universe around us, through over-socialization, through screens, through things being too convenient for us. And as we've just continually numbed ourselves almost to oblivion, and as a result gotten ourselves into disease in many ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, what have you. And so I believe that using Kambo, using frog medicine, or any kind of detox, something like that, in tandem with the plant medicine can really, really help get you in touch with all of these powers that exist within you. It can really, both can work so well towards getting you to really seeing what's going on behind the driver's seat, what subconscious drives you have as you travel through this, and then also to have a different relationship with pain and discomfort that oftentimes is just trying to tell you something instead of being ignored. So with that, I'd like to open up the floor for any questions, anything like that that might exist.
Yeah, so I've been hearing about ayahuasca, which is the, synthetic ayahuasca that is being patented and used for therapy. What are your opinions on that and like that being introduced into the medical model?
That's a really good question. I actually was just invited to participate in a ceremony using that. I met this guy who's an engineer who's been making it. And it kind of like, honestly, I'm like a big like purist at heart. Like it's, why I do things so ceremonially, partially. I think that what's helpful with it, I haven't had the experience and I haven't done much research on it, so disclaimer there. But it's kind of like whenever you take anything and synthesize it and boil it down, it's like there are still going to be benefits, but I question whether or not it has the same holistic capabilities that it originally has. And I believe that there's something to be said through like the collective consciousness and evolution of humanity, as we continually sit with something regularly throughout our lineage or, just throughout our own consciousness and the benefits that it holds as a result. I think having things like psychedelics available medically, it makes it more available for people, which is nice, and then also less scary, which is nice as well. But I think anybody that's ever actually sat in a plant medicine circle will see, oh, wait, there's a lot that can happen via group support, from uniting the generations, having people, that are 20 sitting with a psychedelic and people who are 60 sitting with a psychedelic and people in between that are all holding space for one another as they're going through whatever journey the medicine has in store for them. I believe that's a big reason why they're so good for us, that community aspect. If you're just taking it with a doctor or something like that, I question whether or not, you'll get the support that you really need. It can be kind of like comparing it to like one-on-one therapy, which can be really beneficial, or joining a support group, which I find in many ways can almost be more beneficial because it creates less isolation. We already have too much of that in our society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you also spoke about the patenting and isolating of compounds
Mm-hmm.
in combo, and potentially for use in like anti-cancer and other medicinal ways. Can you explore that a little bit more?
Yeah, so we use Kambo in many ways pharmaceutically. The most notable is it is very anti-cancerous. Deltamorphin, which is one of the peptide compounds that breaks the blood-brain barrier. It's the one that bonds to your opiate receptors. And then anamorphin, which is the one that breaks the cell wall. It clears irregular cells. It's also the same one that I believe works with cellular trauma in a very body keeps the score-esque way as it really gets, energy and things flowing. And we do use these things. I'm not sure if we use them yet in like antidepressants or anything like that, but I do know that they do have that quality and have been studying and undergoing tests with them. But the anti-cancerous bit is the most notable, and we do use them in different cancer medications. But again, it's different because it's not as bioactive and neuroactive when something is broken apart, isolated, and then synthesized as it is when you take it holistically. And then all the other things that you're getting at the same time are really beneficial. Like, for example, 90% of our serotonin is created in our gut. And so with Kambo, you're experiencing a huge gut cleanse. And then it's also antiviral, antifungal, all of these little bugs, what have you, that settle in our digestive tract get cleansed really quickly. And then that helps us to be able to create more serotonin and then perform more optimally too. If you're isolating deltamorphin, which is the one that bonds to your opiate receptors, and using that, it's going to be different than having the digestive component alongside that as well. And I also do want to talk about that too. When I say they bond with your opiate receptors, a Kambo experience isn't like an opiate experience. You're not going to take Kambo and then just be kind of zonked out and nodding off for a couple hours. The antidepressant, anti-anxiety benefits, chronic pain benefits, chronic inflammation benefits can last weeks to even months after a Kambo experience, especially if you have something like an inoculation where you're having it back to back a few times.
Right.
Yeah.
Emily or Matt, did you guys have any questions?
Cool. I think we're good.
Sweet, sweet. Thank you so much for leading this, Jetta. This has been an absolute wealth of knowledge, and yeah, you really know your experience and your stuff, and yeah, it's
Oh,
powerful. So thank you.
thank you, Emily. And also, if any of you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to shoot me an Instagram message at Moonflower Kambo. Kambo is my Instagram. And I'm happy to send you over any science, anything like that. I can seriously talk combo science for like hours and hours and hours. It's like my nerdy thing. But again, I believe that there's a lot of metaphysical benefits that we're getting alongside it too. So also with Aya, anything like that, or creating sacred ceremony. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. Also with creating sacred ceremony, Matt, or Nate, you had mentioned before with your psilocybin experiences. I'm more than happy to be of assistance with you with that. So just let me know.
Cool, cool, cool. Thanks a lot.
Yep. I'll see you guys.
Take care. Be well.
Bye.